Right, time for another video. This time about the Govee Permanent Outdoor Lights. I have wanted to install Christmas lights on the house for a very long time, but each Christmas I'd need to go up and put them up, and then after Christmas take them down, and just going up and down ladders every year just seemed like a really bad idea to me. So, and it always happens here in the UK, it's cold in Christmas, and it always happens when it's cold, and the last thing I want to do is be going up and down a ladder. So what I decided to do, I noticed recently that Govee have released some permanent outdoor lights, which we could then install once during summer, and then use for Christmas and Halloween and for every season. So what we're going to do, what I've done is I've bought the 30 meter, 100-foot version of the cabling, and I'm hoping to, if I can get this right, go from up and over that, over that section, through the middle here, up and over that section, and then down the length of the garden on that goes down this side over here. And hopefully that will look really good. Now, I don't want to go up and down ladders, so what I've done is I have bought or hired something. And this is what I've hired. It is a scaffolding tower. I've hired it from HSS. It costs just over £100 to hire it for a weekend. And it needs to, you can see there's two more bits there that I need to put on the very top. And then that should give me easy access to the fascias and soffits all the way around the house. So that is the plan. Let's now go back inside. I'll quickly unbox what I've got and show you exactly what comes inside it, and then we'll get on with it. Right, let's check out what we get in the box. Okay, so we get a user guide and a quick start guide, and then a whole load of boxes. So let's try and take this first one out. Oop. Okay, so in here, well, in fact, let's get the boxes out first and then open each one. We get 3 boxes. I'm assuming that these two are both going to be lights, so let's have a look. Yeah, there we go. So a huge bundle of lights, along with all the fittings for them. I'm guessing this is going to be the same. Yep, this is the same. Huge bundle of lights with all the fittings. And then in this box, we get all the power supplies. Okay, so let's push let me take one box away. Okay, so these are the lights. They're actually smaller than I thought they would be, which is quite cool. So these little dome-shaped lights with a 3M tape on the back. And then at the end of each, it looks like there's a couple of lengths in them, in that they're joined together already. Yeah, in fact, there are multiple joins here, so they must be coming in lots of smaller lengths. And then I guess we just attach this to the other batch of cables that are in the other box. And then on this end, we have got some fixings and what looks like a power supply, power switch essentially, to turn it on and off. And an extension cable. So I guess that would allow me to separate the lights by a section of wire that doesn't have any lights, if you're wanting to wire up two different, or have lights on two different areas, but controlled by the same unit. And then a power supply with a British plug on it, because we're in the UK here. And this is a 72 watt power supply. which is quite a powerful power supply. I guess that's because there are so many lights. So yeah, there we go. We've also got these fittings. So some additional sticky pads, I guess, for the back of the lights if you need them, as well as these connections or these fittings, which if I understand it correctly, you use these on the cable intermittently in between some of the lights to hold the cable down as you fit them. But we'll get into that more as we actually get up to the roof and start putting them on. So there we go. I think what I'm going to do now is attach them all together and just power it up and make sure that everything works before I go and start to actually install them on the outside of our house. Last thing I want to do is get them all up there and then find out that there's one that's broken. So let me set it all up and I'll come back. Okay, so I've wired it all up. So the power supply goes into the switch, which then I've put into the extension lead, which then goes into the first batch and then into the second batch. And now I'm going to ask my little helper over here to press the button. Gotta press the button. Let's see if it works. Hey, look at that. So, I think that's, what do you reckon? All of those working?
Yes.
They look like they are, don't they? So it looks like that everything is working. I think so. They are all working. So, and you probably can't see this from the camera, but they are really bright. So I think this is going to look pretty impressive once it's on the roof. What do you reckon? Or not on the roof, up there. Okay, right. Next time you see me, I'll hopefully have the scaffolding up and we can start to get this done. So up the top of the scaffolding, and we've just put the first few lights in. So you can see here that I have drilled a hole through the soffit and fed the cable, the power end of the cable, up into through that hole into the attic or into the loft. I've then fished that cable out and have fed it across the loft to a power source. From there, we have then clipped that down and then stuck a number of lights in, or the first 3 or 4 lights in, spacing them as with the cable taut and including some of those clips when we're going around corners just to tidy up the cables. And yeah, that's the first few done. So to save you having to watch me do the whole lot, I've created a little time lapse of going around the house, and yeah. Right, I'm almost done. Just the last half of the strip to go. But before I finish off, I thought I'd just quickly show you how I've been doing this. So each of these have got a sticky back on them, and then you just literally hold them up underneath the fascia and the soffits until they stick. So what I've been doing is cleaning off the fascias and soffits, drying them off, making sure it's all nice and clean and dry. And then I want to make sure that they're the right distance or the same distance away from the house each time. So what I've done is I'm using a piece of wood as a spacer. The instructions recommend 5 to 10 centimeters, which is what, 2 to 4 inches roughly. Sorry, working centimeters here. And this is 7 centimeters, so slap bang in the middle. So I'm going to try and set up the camera so you can see the underneath of the fascia and the soffits, and then hopefully you'll see how I'm actually doing it. Right, hopefully you can see that okay. So this is the underside of the fascia and the soffits. So here's the gutter, and here I am. And you can see this light here. So it's now time to stick this light on. So, to make sure I stick it the same distance away from the house each time, I'm using the spacer. And so I'll just put the spacer in between and push this up to here. And that will then make sure it all looks okay. So hang on, let me show you this. Take that sticker off. Oh. Make sure that this is not twisted. Push it right up against that. Make sure it's taut from the previous. Oh dear. Make sure it's taut from the previous one, and then hold it in for 5 seconds. There you go. Make sure it's all good, and then just keep on doing that all the way along. We do one more. Yeah.
Grandpa.
No, look.
Hang on, look.
When will you come?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
No.
There we go. And this is what it looks like once it's all installed during the day. And you see it's very neat and tidy. Hopefully you can see that up there. But yeah, it just goes all the way around the house. Very inconspicuous. You can only notice it if you really look up, if you're specifically looking for it. But yeah, very impressed. Now, of course, it's all about what they look like when they're on rather than when they're off. So let's see that now.